Government cuts $3 billion from the budget while a hotel worker is gunned down in Negril. This is Undiluted News. Mikey Bones reporting. The government has cut over $3 billion from the budget for the current fiscal year, which ends on March 31st. And this is stated in the fourth supplementary estimate for the fiscal year 2023 to 24, which Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clark tabled in the House of Representatives yesterday afternoon. According to Dr. Clark, the government now proposes to spend $1.091 trillion, a $2.5 billion cut. He said that the drop is mostly due to predicted fiscal year revenues being lower than previously projected, necessitating a shift in resources. Meanwhile, a United States visitor is receiving medical attention after seemingly suffering mental distress at Sangster's International Airport in Montego Bay yesterday morning. The woman was preparing to depart the island when she apparently suffered a mental breakdown. A 3-minute video that has been widely circulated on social media showed the woman screaming and behaving uncontrollable as police and security officers attempt to restrain her. Senior advisor and strategist in the Tourist Minister Delano Severide said that the authorities have contacted the woman's family. Meanwhile, the St. James police have launched a search for a lifeguard following allegations that he sexually assaulted an 11-year-old girl at a beach park in the parish on the weekend. And it's reported that the child and her mother went to the beach park on Saturday. It's alleged that the lifeguard sexually assaulted the child while giving her swimming lessons. She reported the matter to her mother, who confronted the lifeguard, and he reportedly grabbed his belongings and fled the beach park before the police arrived on the scene. Julian Silveira, former member of parliament accused with the murder of his wife Melissa, is now set to appear in court for the first time tomorrow. The Director of Public Prosecution is set to file a voluntary bill of indictment, shifting the matter from the St. Andrew Parish Court to the Home Circuit Court. Mr. Silveira was accused on Friday following a 2-month investigation into his wife's untimely death at their home in Stony Hill in St. Andrew. Mrs. Silveira was first reported to have died in her sleep on November 10th. However, a postmortem found the presence of gunshot fragments in her corpse, sparking a murder inquiry. Investigators then made a breakthrough in the case last week after ballistic tests allegedly linked Mr. Silveira's licensed firearm to that shooting. And this is an open and shut case, as there are more charges to be laid on Mr. Silveira. The Criminal Investigations Branch detectives have now charged a man in connection with various shootings and deaths in St. James. Nigel Bailey, 47, also known as Badaras of Bakerstead in St. James, was listed as one of the parish's most wanted fugitives. Bailey was apprehended on January 4th after years on the run. Bailey, who was being investigated for at least 20 killings, has been charged with the deaths of 42-year-old Kimar Henry, also known as Brocky of Bakerstead Anchovy, and 41-year-old Owen Morris, also known as Oret. Henry was fatally shot in a tavern in Bakerstead on December 10th last year, while Morris, a chef, was killed on Tank Road in Cambridge in October of the same year. Bailey, who left St. James amid a large police manhunt, was apprehended by the St. Catherine Police, and he was charged on Monday after the St. James Police Department served him with warrants. Bailey, according to authorities, is a former member of a prominent St. James gang. Meanwhile, on Monday, 12 years after being charged with murder, Peter Wilson's trial began at the St. Anne Circuit Court. Wilson of Hamilton Mountain in Oracabessa, St. Mary, was accused shortly after the death of a man identified as Jackie, who also lived in St. Mary. The event apparently took place on January 9th of 2012 in the Ocherius Market. According to reports, Wilson and Jackie got into a fight just before midnight, and Wilson is accused of chasing Jackie and stabbing him multiple times. Jackie died in the hospital. A hotel employee was shot dead outside the Rio Palace Hotel in Negril, Westmoreland on Monday night. He has been identified as Rohan Simpson, also known as Tyson, a chef supervisor of Cave District. And according to police report, Mr. Simpson ended his shift at 10:20 and was going to enter his car when he was attacked by men driving a white Toyota Axio. The men exited their car and opened fire, striking Mr. Simpson multiple times before fleeing the area. Mr. Simpson was declared dead at hospital. On to sports. Former champions Arnett Gardens are back into the top 4 of the Ray and Neville Jamaica Premier League standings after a 3-timer from striker Fabian Reed carried them to a 4-1 win over Malines United at the Anthony Spalding Sports Complex on Monday. Reed sent Arnett into the 3rd-minute lead, but this was cancelled out by Jason Wright on a stroke of half-time. However, Reed scored at the start of the second half and at the end to add Shai Smith's 70th minute effort as the Junglists moved to one place up to fourth on 30 points, which is 2 points off leaders Mount Pleasant FC, who leads the table with 32 points. Meanwhile, following FIFA's intervention in the Jamaica Football Federation affair after the postponement of the elections recently, noted sports attorney Emir Crown says a potential normalization committee may be warranted, but it has warned it may be harmful to the JFF. The voting Congress of the JFF was set for January 14, with the incumbent Michael Ricketts being challenged by current Vice President Raymond Anderson for the presidency. However, the election was postponed for at least 28 days after an injunction was granted by the Supreme Court following appeal made by Beach Soccer Jamaica. And there have also been several issues highlighted by the Ricketts and Anderson team during the build-up to the elections, particularly with the eligibility of voting delegates. And he is saying that based on what's in the media and what's publicly out there, it is fair to say that the JFF elections are tainted. And if FIFA is dissatisfied following their analysis, they could appoint a normalization committee similar to what they did with fellow CONCACAF member association Trinidad and Tobago Football in 2020. A normalization committee is typically appointed by FIFA to oversee the affairs of a national football association in cases where there are governance issues or concern. And its primary role is to ensure the proper functioning and stability of the association until new elections can be held. And this, I think, is warranted in Jamaica because the Jamaica Football Federation, the leadership is as corrupt as anything. Anyway, don't forget that the best news and sports takes place on this station. If you ever miss the news on this radio station, please go to YouTube, type in Jamaican Undiluted News, listen, like, share, and subscribe to keep it going. And that's news and sports on your favorite radio. My name is Mikey Bones. I gone.